Hi, I am Cager on two wheels, and today's topic is gonna be what? Hang on, what's wrong with my hands? Oh my god, I'm melting. Oh no, hang on, I'm just wearing different gloves. Okay, with that really bad joke aside, oh god, that was horrible. Sorry, that did not come out right. Well, that's what I get for trying to do something scripted. So, like promised, it's not a review of my gloves, it's more of a don't make the same stupid fucking mistakes I made and I keep on making. So this will also serve as a reminder to myself. On the right you have my Alpinestars Jet Road Goretex, or GTX as they are commonly shortened to, winter gloves. Okay, these are impermeable. Fuck, it's not impermeable. These are waterproof. Stop making up words, you idiot. Okay, so these are waterproof. Sorry, I'm a bit annoyed today. These are waterproof and very, very hot. Warm, actually. And what the fudge is happening here? This might have been a horrible... I've made a horrible mistake. This is not where I want to be. That's what I get for trying to making a detour to show you guys some alternate routes to work, not always the same route. That's just fucking really brilliant for me. Jesus Christ, I'm a bike, just let me go. So, okay, insanity aside, this is a huge ass wide road and they all have to be stuck in the middle. Fuck you. And you. And you. And you too. And all of you. Fucking cagers, can't believe I was one of them. Okay, so, stopping with all the swearing, the Jet Road, very warm winter gloves. On the left hand I have an unbranded, or rather locally made, generic spring/summer glove. It's not quite a summer glove because it is relatively warm, but it's not a winter glove because it has a lot of perforation. See this? So it's cold. It's not cold, it's well ventilated, let's go at it like this, but it's a more generic all-purpose glove. Today it's going to be freezing. That's why I came also through the detour, because I'm riding slower, and if I go onto the highway with this glove I'm just going to freeze my hand, even though it's not really that cold. It's about what, 10 degrees outside, 10 degrees Celsius, not that crazy measurement Fahrenheit or something like that. So why am I showing you this? So you don't make the same mistakes I do. Gloves are always going to be expensive if you want to buy decent ones. For example, and I have spent almost, I don't know, 180 euros in gloves already, something retarded like that. I'll make the math in a few minutes and I'll tell you. So I've bought my first gloves when I bought the bike, some bearing waterproof gloves, which were good. They didn't last long though. They were full tissue, full textile, and they had a couple of little rubber bands on the inside to keep, so you would have grip on the handlebars. A couple of rubber stripes on the inside. Thing is, those rubber stripes quickly wore down, and then the textile would just slip on the handlebars, so I had to grab the handlebars really tough so they wouldn't slip, which was bad. From then on out I learned my lesson. Leather on the inside, please. Okay, it's rubber like this, see, but this was worn out and it would slip. So leather on the inside of the gloves, please. Thank you very much. That's rule number one for me. Your mileage may vary. If you have different handlebars you might get along with something else, but leather on the inside, that's rule number one. Number two, and they were cold. They were 100% waterproof, and I went through some insane torrential rain, zero water came in, but they were cold. They were relatively cold. I was freezing my hands off. So when I went on a bigger trip that 100 to 150 kilometer trip I did, which was almost 300 round trip on a scooter, on a Honda PCX. On the destination, which was a motor show, I bought a pair of warm winter leather gloves, and they were nice, they fit nice, they were really comfortable, they were easy to put on, and I was generally happy. Problem number 2 and rule number 2: leather gloves, always buy a very small pair. It needs to be very tight in the beginning because leather stretches, and as a result 4 months passed, the winter passed, and at the end of the winter those gloves were wide. They're now so wide that if I can throw them away like American hockey players do. If I go like this, they just fly off. So they are no longer safe. If I crash and fall and slip on the ground, the gloves are going to stay way back there. My hands will be sprayed all over the ground. They will only protect from the initial impact. Plus, they did not have many protection, just a bit of foam on the back of the hand and the leather itself. So I wasn't completely safe with them. They were warm, but they were not waterproof. That's a problem with leather. It is not waterproof. It soaks, so you don't get wet for a while. It soaks, and then the water starts coming in. Worse than that, if the water is enough, it starts coming in through the stitches. So if you want waterproof, leather is not going to work unless you have something that's really expensive, like some Alpinestars, which have leather, and then inside the leather some waterproof membrane like Goretex or some shit like that. So that's rule number 2. Rule number 3, which were the next one afterwards, it was summer, so I bought a pair of summer gloves. Coincidentally, from the same place I bought the leather gloves, which coincidentally is the same place I bought these. It's a local shop which makes leather gear. In fact, the name is House of Leathers. So where the fuck am I going? I wanted to go here. Oh fuck, I'm lost, hang on. I completely plumb forgot where the hell... Oh, I remember. Okay, I remember where I want to go. So that's rule number 2. I bought some summer gloves, and they were nice. They were not full gauntlets, but those were the ones I'm most satisfied with. Really cool, textile on the back, hard knuckles, hard pretend carbon fiber knuckles, and leather in the front. So they are tight, they have stretched, but they are still very tight. Great grip, great feel, because they don't have any padding whatsoever. Or rather, they do have padding on the inside of the hands. So I'm really happy with those. I'll show you eventually. And then winter came, and stupid me, instead of buying some dedicated winter gloves, I saw these, found them pretty, and bought them. And then winter really came, and I froze my hands off, and I soaked my hands off on my old leather gloves, and I bought these. Now, the reason I'm wearing different gloves is to show you the difference between a €100 glove, which is this, even though I bought it for 40 off discount. It was on last sale. No, not last sale, what's it called? It's like outlet. Yeah. So look at this, just look at the detail. Do you see any stitch? Oh look, there's a stitch sticking out there. One on the whole freaking glove. It's the whole glove is just perfect. Okay, it's perfectly built. You can feel the quality of the leather. You can barely feel any stitches on the inside, only on the thumb. You can notice it is built to last. It's really, you can see the quality. It's really nice. For example, around the hard knuckles here, see those two lines? That's what you want to look for on durable equipment. Double stitching. That means instead of just making one line of stitches, you make two lines of stitches, so if one fails, the other one takes over and the seam doesn't break. And it also balances the load better, so it's less likely that any one of these stitches will fail. So if you see double stitches, you know that seam is not going to break, at least not easily. On the other hand, just look at this one. Do you want to count how many stitches are poorly made in this one? Look at this. it's got like 3 months and it looks like a 10-year-old glove. Okay, you can see from the plastic on the knuckles that it's new, and still it came like that just from the shop. And this is a 30-euro glove, this is a 100-euro glove, and plus this is a 30-euro glove with all the bells and whistles, so they had to cut corners somewhere. And that's the problem with buying cheap stuff for biking. On some worlds you can buy cheap stuff that works almost as good as the expensive one. For example, you can buy a cheaper cell phone that costs 10% of the big one, but gives you 90% of the functionality. On biking gear, that no longer works because it's a relatively old world. There's been equipment for many years, and so they've gone past the stage of trying to trick the customer into buying something he doesn't need, or telling him it's really good but it's really crap. Since we're past that, if it's expensive it's generally good, and if it's cheap it's generally bad. It's very rare to find the gem of something good and cheap. For example, corners they either cut on the build quality, such as this, and don't cut on the safety. For example, this one has hard foam here on the pinky finger, has protections just about everywhere. In good protections, there are hard protections, there are soft protections. It seems like a very safe glove, and I am really sure it's going to work perfectly in a crash. But they just ignored the part of build quality and finishes, so it's a cheaper one. This one, awesome build quality, nothing was left to chance, so it's actually a pretty good glove. That's what you have to look out for. If you buy a really cheap glove that's perfectly built, make sure feel the protection, see if it's actually going to break apart or not. Especially look for double stitches on the inside of the hand, like this. See, this has double stitches everywhere, because when you crash, your hand is going to go onto the ground like this, and it's going to get scraped like this or like this. And if the stitches aren't up to it, they're going to fail, and your hand's going to be unprotected. Also, during riding, you're putting a lot of pressure on the front of your hand, and especially because it's gripping the handlebar, so it's always getting stretched, and that's where it's going to break tips of the fingers and palm of the hand. So make sure you don't do the mistakes I did, and don't just buy cheap stuff. Just for example, the first glove, which was actually a branded glove, just wasn't a very good one, was 30 euros. The second leather glove was also 30 euros. The third textile glove, which I am very happy about, was also around 30 euros, so that's 90 euros already. This one was 40, that's 120. No, 130. Whoa, my math is horrible, as you can see. And I'm going very, very slow because cars cut this corner. And these were also 30 something. So that's 150 or 160 euros I spent on gloves, when I could have bought two 80-euro gloves and be happy. No, I just had to buy cheap gloves, and when they didn't work, buy more cheap gloves, and when they did not work, buy even more cheap gloves. Don't do this. Coincidentally, I did the same with the jacket. I bought a cheap jacket, was disappointed, so I bought another cheap jacket, and ta-da, I'm disappointed. Fucking idiot. Okay, so yeah, that's it about all the gloves. Hope I didn't bore you too much. So yeah, just one detail. Gloves are, I would consider gloves as essential as a helmet, because I've had rocks hitting my hands with the gloves and it hurt like a bitch. So, and I was on the CBF on a little 125 going, I don't know, 70 kph. So if I was going faster, it would have hurt even more, and if I wasn't wearing any gloves, I would have certainly broken a finger. And during a crash I had, the glove saved my hand from just disappearing. So yeah, gloves essential, unless you do not need your hands for anything. That should make, at the very least, masturbating difficult to do. So on that bombshell, Cager out.